out of the truck!
Leave him alone.
Sam!
Who the hell are you?
I'm the parking attendant, and you're bothering my customers.
And welcome back to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Dam Cast. It is Jeff and John in studio to talk to you guys through your ear holes about nowhere to run.
Hell yeah. Best way to talk to people, really.
Right, exactly. I think that's the only way you can hear us. Unless you, like, sit on a speaker.
Yeah, they're those infrasound ones that, like, it uses your jawbone or something like that.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're trying.
We'll talk to our R&D department.
Right, exactly. Hold on a second. Hey, John, can you do this? Hey, John. No, I can't. But anyway, no, we are actually going to be reviewing a very... I don't want to call it a scarce Van Damme movie, but like no one really knows about it.
I did not know of its existence until we were told about it on the lineup. Like the title sounded familiar, but I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah,
I just assumed there'd be kicking in it.
Yeah. There wasn't really too much kicking.
No,
in it,
not
to be
too much.
Completely honest with you, I mean, just a little bit, really. But
the movie,
anyway,
it was a pretty big departure from like the typical Jean-Claude Van Damme action movie. Like,
oh, totally. So
like this
man.
one was really more in the lines of like a Harrison Ford action drama. Like,
exactly.
Movies like Frantic and The Witness. And...
Yeah, man, and that's what it's actually the genre it's under: action, crime, and drama.
Yep.
It's only an hour and 34 minutes, and that almost seems like the shortest movie up to date that he's done, really. And it really, like, it's so out of left field. You would think that it was basically just another Van Damme movie, but
especially for like from the way it starts off like any Van Damme
right,
movie.
exactly. They're on the jailhouse bus, and you're thinking, okay, we're gonna go see the Sandman and Death Warrant too. But anyway, the little synopsis is: escaped convict Sam Gillen single-handedly takes on ruthless developers determined to evict Clyde, a widow with 2 young children. Nobody knows who Sam is.
The synopsis makes it sound like a classic Van Damme movie too. Like,
right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, they even threw romance in here as well, which I mean, I really thought it almost, in a way, could have been a chick flick.
Yeah, like I could tell they were really trying to expand the scope of the audience they're trying to bring in.
Yeah, most
that actually had a fleshed out female character in it.
Right,
which is very,
exactly.
Somewhat unusual.
Yeah. It wasn't, I mean, like Universal Soldier, the sidekick character Allie played was, it was, kind of badass woman, but usually his love interests aren't,
it's
just right
in distress,
there. Yeah, it's just like right there, it's a little bit above just the general damsel in distress, but not by much.
Yeah, she was still definitely a damsel in distress, but
right.
They actually fleshed out her character more.
Yeah, more so in this one. This film's from 1993. It was released January 15th of that year. The tagline is, "When the law can't protect the innocent, the only hero left is an outlaw." Dun, dun, dun!
That's pretty good. That's a classic action tagline there.
Yeah, man, yeah. And it's directed by Robert Harmon. Writers were Joe Esterhaus and Richard Marquand and others. And obviously, I probably butchered those names.
Especially the others part.
Yep, the others. I still don't know how to pronounce that. So, yeah, we have JCVD playing Sam Gillen. Rosanna Arquette is playing Clyde Anderson. Kieran Culkin plays Mike Mookie Anderson. And one of the bad guys is Mr. Dunstan, who's played by Ted Levine.
Is that the one who's Buffalo Bill? From the
Silence of the Lambs.
I think that was him, wasn't it?
Yeah. Wow, that was Buffalo Bill.
I know.
Wow.
You couldn't tell because he was wearing a hairpiece. But yeah.
Wow, dude. There was another dude in here, the big bad businessman, Josh Auckland, who played Franklin Hale. And he's been in a bunch of stuff. He was actually in the Mighty Ducks. He was Hans in the Mighty Ducks.
Are you serious?
Recall.
Holy shit.
He was in Lethal Weapon, Hunt for Red October. This dude's been in a lot.
Oh, was he the one who had was he the one who had diplomatic immunity in
the Mighty Ducks?
Yes. I'm trying to remember, was it Lethal Weapon 2 that had where they couldn't touch the guy because he had diplomatic immunity?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And he literally yelled diplomatic immunity when he was committing a crime.
Yep. Yeah. He's been in a ton of stuff though. Like, so when I saw him pop up on here, I was like, that's a familiar face.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he's still kicking it. In case you want to know, Alan Graff played the bus driver. But
I was wondering.
Yeah, that was basically kind of it. I'm trying to think who played the little girl. I'm not. Let's see. Tiffany Taubman played Bree Anderson. That was Kieran Culkin's little sister. So I'm really gonna forget all their names in the film. Besides,
we can refer to them in the third person. It's like, or just non-proper nouns, like the kid, the love interest.
Yeah. I mean, there's some. I haven't checked the quotes or the trivia for this. So, like, I kind of think because it's such a silent sleeper JCVD film that there probably won't be too many quotes. I'm kind of hoping that I'm proven wrong on that. But this movie was quote-worthy, man.
Oh, yeah.
He was throwing out one-liners in it that, were making me just laugh.
It was a odd amount of one-liners for the kind of movie it was, too.
I know, man. I know, most definitely. So we start off basically, like we said, scene opens up, credits open up, and there's this prison bus making its way. All of a sudden, this dude in this old Trans Am just jumps out in front of it, kind of slams on his brakes, makes the bus flip itself.
That's why you never brake check a bus.
Right? Yeah, exactly, man.
The whole fucking thing will flip.
That was pretty sweet stunt too,
it
man.
Did look
like
really
the choreography on that, the people inside it all falling. Like, I want to know how many dudes got injured doing that stunt.
No shit.
Because that was crazy. So basically, this guy ends up doing all this to free Van Damme. He gets one of the prison bus driver actually to unlock all the handcuffs. The other guard that was on the bus gets knocked out by Van Damme, I believe himself.
With telling him his arm was broken.
Yeah.
Not a very smart
no,
prison guard,
not at all. But they ended up leaving, and they take off after they beat up a bunch of prisoners trying to steal the Trans Am to leave themselves, which was pretty awesome. I think we got our first headbutt here, and maybe our only headbutt.
I don't remember any other headbutts besides
I don't think so. I think that was the only headbutt in the film. Van Damme headbutts a prisoner, pulls a shotgun on another one, tells him get out of the car. They go taking off. I believe it was the bus driver, prison guard, pulls out a rifle.
Yeah, this guy, he was not on his watch, man.
No, man. So he ends up shooting, and he maims Van Damme's buddy, who really, I guess he was his partner in crime buddy.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any relation there at all. But the dude's basically like, this is my fault anyway. I'm going to die. I deserve it.
Do you forgive me?
It should have been me in prison. You took all that hard time, and blah, blah, blah. And so you're thinking, what the hell is going on here?
At this point, this movie's really going a mile a minute. Yeah.
The buddy goes bye-bye. Next thing we see is Van Damme wearing this nice suit, talking to this general store owner, and the guy's like basically asking what he's doing here, and he's like, I'm going hunting, and he's like, in a suit? And he's like, yes, no more questions.
Yeah.
And,
what are you hunting?
Yeah,
pink flamingos.
yes.
You see any pink flamingos? He's like intimidating him by talking about flamingos.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
No, and I never will.
Yep. Yeah, I'm showing his piece a little bit, but it's like behind his back, so it's kind of weird. But
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is.
I guess it was like the psychic intimidation, like sending the vibes.
Honestly, if a
reaching
dude
for
in
a
a business suit came in, and I live in this little town, and he's talking about hunting, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, okay,
I'm done. Okay,
enjoy your hunt.
I also like he camps out in the suit. He has his little tent. He's right by the pond there. And for whatever reason, it's nighttime. He decides to peep on this house.
Yeah, I thought, like, from what I assumed, I thought they were building it to where like it was his ex-wife in the house.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I was thinking too. Like at first,
like he
I'm
was
thinking,
visiting his family or something.
Right, yeah.
No, he's
Nope.
just creeping up on some random woman and her 2 kids.
Right, just creeping up on this single mom. She sends the kids off to bed, and he's still kind of looking around. And then she's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna take a shower with the window basically kind of open, no shade pulled down." And so he turned from just peeping in to a peeping Tom.
Hell yeah.
And I really didn't expect a nude scene to come so fast in this movie,
I
especially
know.
when you're thinking it's all about family and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, when you expect a nude scene in a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, expect it to be Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right, exactly.
And then maybe a side boob.
Yep.
But no, we got the full shebang.
No, we got exactly. That one was very, very eye-opening. That is the best way I can explain it. So Van Damme sneaks into the house just to grab the salt, and Kieran Culkin like has this sixth sense, wakes up, ends up seeing him pretty much leave his house, and he's all right. He's okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you think that there's an earthquake going on while the family's sitting down for breakfast and Van Damme's off. And no, we end up finding out basically that it's this mean old rich dude trying to redevelop the land for basically condos, neighborhoods, and golf courses.
Bastard.
That son of a bitch.
The land's for cattle.
Yep. And then Kieran Culkin claims that E.T. took the salt.
It's a safe assumption. Yeah, the salt's gone. An alien took it.
Obviously, Miss Arquette gets angry and was like, stop lying. And that gets him all upset. And he runs out to the barn to look at his memories of his dad and a
Fondle
6-shooter.
his gun, yeah. Just has a revolver in his box, in his little memory box there. It was kind of odd.
Yeah, actually, when he was doing the E.T. took it, that's one of the only lines I remember from this film as a kid watching this. Like, I remember that. I remember him saying that and thinking, oh, man, they mentioned E.T. in this movie. So as the kid's looking at the memory box, Van Damme's looking at his memory box, which is filled with money and a recorder. And the recording is of his buddy basically saying, hey, I'm dead. I guess all this money is yours now, and I have a 50-50 chance of going to heaven or hell. But, I like my odds on seeing Elvis.
He took it in stride.
Yeah, man. Yeah, his buddy was pretty optimistic for being a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then Van Damme all of a sudden decides he needs to trash the Trans Am in this pond.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's actually, 50 feet deep right off the edge of it.
Yeah.
Because he rolls it in.
And it just goes bloom.
Yeah, and it just drops in. Because my first thought was, like, that thing's just going to float there.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get
like
stuck.
walk on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you're screwed. But no, man, there's, like, this big old hole all of a sudden right there, which is pretty much seems like it's the same pond that Van Damme's been bathing in.
Mm-hmm.
And we switch over basically to what looks like some evil businessman type of deal, and we meet Buffalo Bill and Hans from Mighty Ducks.
What a duo.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. and so we already start to see like this dirty cop situation come up. What would you call him? Was he a police officer? Was he a patrolman? Was he a sheriff, a deputy in there?
I think he gave me a deputy vibe.
He gave me a deputy vibe too. But like I know later on
there's
in the
like
film,
no other cops in the area.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's what it kind of made me think it was like that because of that. It was in a more rural area, and so that way they'd be like, okay, you're gonna see state police and deputies, sheriffs, and all that. So. It seemed like that was it. Well, Buffalo Bill decides to play a card trick, the old-fashioned "what's your card?" And he plays it up like, "Oh, I'm getting rusty. I must need more practice," when he picks the wrong card. But the cop goes out to his car and opens up the envelope, and amongst the $100 bills is the 2 of spades.
Yep, it was the correct card.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he's a wizard.
He's a wizard, yep, exactly. So I was wondering, where the hell is this going in this film?
Yeah. That was just a character quirk. It never really made any impact on anything in the film other than...
No, yeah, exactly. Just one more step. It was almost like Buffalo Bill was like, guys, I've been really practicing my card tricks. Can we put it into my character here?
Fine.
All right. I have to get you, and pulling that shtick like I was in one of the best thrillers of all time. So Van Damme ends up looking and creeping once again on. This time we find out that dirty cop is hooking up with the single mom.
Hell yeah.
And so
Buffalo Bill predicted it, actually.
Yeah, he did.
He asked if he was fucking her.
Yeah, and the
guy
cop
got all indignant
really
immediately.
angry. Yeah,
A big tell.
Yep. So we see that's happening. Van Damme goes back into the house basically to drop off the salt after he salted his steaks, because Van Damme's a steak man for breakfast.
Oh yeah.
And Kieran Culkin is like not scared at all. Throws the ball down the stairs, and he's basically like very interested to see who's this burglar coming into the house.
As a man taking items, replacing them.
Yeah,
like a strange man when their house is like in the middle of a deal of trying to get bought out by these tough man industrialists.
Right, exactly. No, everything's okay. Even
Just some guy wandering in the house at night.
Yeah, there's been people trying to twist the arm of the mom all this time. So Van Damme's back in his tent and he's reading a naughty magazine, and Kieran comes up out of nowhere. Van Damme pulls his gun at him, and instead of like shitting his pants and dropping the flashlight or anything, Culkin did like the coolest thing ever and was just like, "You like boobs?" Sometimes. I think they're gross. And I'm just thinking, what the hell is going on?
What kind of childhood did this kid have?
I know, man. His parents were pretty straightforward with him as a child.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, hey, you know what? Men have penises, women have vaginas and breasts. And that's basically it, because there's some stuff throughout this whole film that's kind of like
really
gross. Like, I can understand just being like, oh yeah, that's the male and female anatomy, but like there's stuff that they're making jokes about the mom having sex with Van Damme.
Yeah, and like the size of his dick.
Oh, dude, that I was dying on that, which leads us into it. Basically, Kieran Culkin tells him like, hey, I'll come back tomorrow. Comes back tomorrow randomly while Van Damme's bathing, and makes fun of Van Damme for not knowing how to properly keep a fire.
Mm-hmm.
So he's cooking food for Van Damme. Van Damme comes out of the water, and we get like a quarter of a Van Damme shot of his butt. And then he comes out of the water, and we get the full monty.
Oh, yeah. About damn time, too.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, the little sister comes up, and he's like, oh, back into the water he goes. And then, the mom's basically calling off. But before that, she's like, where's your father at? And they're like, really blunt. And they're like, he's dead. He died of a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, you could be watching this and be like, that's so ridiculous. But
kids
I really liked it. Kids are pretty blunt with
kids
stuff like that.
Normally just like, yeah, he's dead.
Yep. Oh, yeah, my dad died. I don't really remember him. So basically they get called back, and then all of a sudden we see, like in the next scene, the mom and the kids are driving home, and one of the cows is dead. Son of a bitch.
More evidence of extraterrestrials.
Yep. Yep.
Cattle mutilation.
So we're thinking this is going to be turning into Fire in the Sky. That's not the case. So all of a sudden the guy like breaks the window, and there's basically trying to stronghold the mom again to get her to sell the property. All of a sudden, Van Damme comes out of nowhere, and he says one of the greatest lines of the film, I'm the parking attendant. And then he just beats the shit out of all the dudes. And those dudes had like the hay hooks and everything too.
Yeah,
like,
they meant business.
Yeah, they really did mean business. And I realized at this point, like, for me, it was starting to come back in my head. Like, this movie was being a little bit more and more familiar to me, but it really, like, still couldn't remember the ending of it. I just remember these one-liners and stuff like that as a kid. And we end up finding out he's from Quebec. Hey, we explained. It's almost like we have to do that now amongst our headbutts and splits.
Which French-speaking majority area is our hero hailing from?
Yeah, how do we explain his accent this time? He says that he's a lawyer and he learned to fight in law school.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But I don't think he was half lying. It seemed like when the Hans from Mighty Ducks comes into the house and basically Van Damme schools him on the law.
Yeah.
When they're talking about foreclosure and all that. But he gets offered the barn as an upgrade to sleep in from his tent.
Hell yeah.
And he decides to take Miss Arquette up on that. Van Damme also, I notice, is sporting some chest hair in this film compared
and
to
unusual.
usual. Yeah, he's usually shaving his chest. So this time around, we get a little bit of the chest hair from him.
Hell yeah.
He's taking a shower, and he's all lathered up. The shower curtain flies open, and it's the deputy with the gun pointed at him, basically being like, who the fuck are you? And how the hell this happens in the house, I don't know, but Clyde comes out, and she's just like, that's my cousin, and leave him alone. And cop kind of is like, all right, but he knows there's something else to it.
Reluctantly, yeah.
I think the best part is she takes a peek back at Van Damme before he shuts the shower curtain again. I was like, that's some pretty funny acting, like good acting. Which then brings us into the next line, which you were just talking about. The little girl go, he's got a big penis.
Yeah.
And then the mom goes, it's just average.
Yeah.
And
then they all just start laughing.
I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
I would be such an uncomfortable escaped convict if I were at that dinner party.
Yep, I think I'd put myself back in jail. But yeah, we see, obviously, she doesn't want to sell the farm. That's a no-brainer there. And Hans she tells Hans, like, the bank wouldn't foreclose on me until you, like, got in with them. And I'm thinking, no, let's be totally honest. The bank's going to foreclose no matter what on you, lady. It's not because of Hans coming out of nowhere.
It's this nice ma and pa bank in the area. They weren't going to foreclose.
Yeah. All right. You're not paying your money up.
You know how nice banks are, especially to farmers.
Right, exactly. And this is where we end up seeing from the city council and all that, the proposed development and why they should sell off their property for this guy to get rich and them to basically be shit on. So one of the farmers is just like, pretty much fuck you, leaves. And then later on, we find out that some of Hans's cronies, I'm not even calling the dude by his gimmick in this film, but by the Mighty Ducks name.
That's how everyone remembers it.
Exactly. So, like, they basically torch his barn. We see Van Damme's love for animals showing in this as he saves the horses, then saves the dude, then saves the day by knocking over the water tower so that the fire goes out on the propane tanks and doesn't blow up the whole place.
I feel like destroying the water tower probably caused more damage than the cost of a propane tank exploding.
I know. Yeah, I know, right?
Like, you ripped the whole thing out of its foundation.
Dude, yeah, yep.
Probably badly damaged that tractor, too.
Oh, yeah, dude. He pretty much ruined the motor on that tractor. So, yeah, everyone was really happy about it, except for the insurance company, I'm sure of. And Buffalo Bill just cracks me up with his magic. He's doing more magic card tricks, making cards appear out of people's ears and stuff like that. Van Damme's talking with Clyde about buying the motorcycle, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And you're thinking, obviously it probably was the dad's back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not being used anymore. A Triumph motorcycle, pretty awesome. Then they're watching old tapes of Clyde and her dead husband being married, and then all of a sudden that awkward moment of the motorcycle showing up there, and Culkin sitting on it as a little boy. So it was like, oh, okay, this is kind of awkward. And this is the kind of gentleman that Van Damme is. After the whole movie situation, you know that Clyde is in a fragile state of mind. And
vulnerable.
She's very vulnerable, and she basically offers her bed to him, and he's like, "No, you take care of yourself." And it was like, what a true romantic.
Yep. A con with a heart of gold.
Yep, exactly.
You'd think he'd be desperate for action after breaking out of prison, but
right, exactly. But no, he's a gentleman. He's not an officer, but he's a gentleman. But this is the funny part now. The tables have turned, and the cop is now spying on them. And he knows that this isn't her third cousin from Quebec, but rather a soon-to-be love interest. Then we end up seeing a situation where they're letting all the cattle loose, all the cronies, still trying to get her to sell the property, so they let loose all the cattle. They're trying to basically burn it to the ground with these big, giant jugs of oil. I guess.
It looked like oil.
Yeah,
it was definitely a dense lubricant of some sort.
Most likely, and Van Damme basically kicks some butt. Guy comes down with a bucket on top of Van Damme, and you're thinking, oh no! But you can't try trapping Van Damme. You know what's going to happen. Van Damme basically climbed on top of the bucket and
much like Batman.
Yeah, yep, kicked the dude out of the cabin of the front loader and still kicks ass. Picks up a flaming 4x4, smashes it over a dude's head and says, "Strike 3, you're out."
I find that you see flaming 4x4s used as weaponry in a couple Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of a running homage joke.
I guess. I mean, this was pretty awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, Flaming Timber does look really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then next we see basically the cop coming up and cuffing Van Damme to a handle and beating the shit out of him with a nightstick, then uncuffing him and leaving him there for Clyde to find him, which is kind of funny. Like, okay, we all know what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
So she's tending to Van Damme's wounds and then
sensuously sponge bathing.
Oh, yeah, and they get it on. And it was like, I was trying to figure out which sex scene was kind of crazier, this one or the one in Double Impact. And I think in a weird way the Double Impact one is, but this one is more romantic.
Yeah, it's probably his least awkward sex scene that we've reviewed so far.
Right, yeah.
By a lot, actually.
It was, very natural, and I think that's why it made it a little bit more whoa, up there with me because
of how out of place it was compared to other
right, exactly.
other sex
yeah, you
scenes
kind of expect some of those other sex scenes, but then we have the funny awkward sex talk between son and mom.
Yes,
when he's like,
shit.
He stayed in your bed. Were you up all night? And I'm like, no,
don't know.
Please stop.
She's winking at him. He's like, yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get a new dad. Yeah. One thing I noticed in this film, does Van Damme usually have a scar on his eyebrow? Or do you think that was kind of made on purpose in this film?
I think I noticed it in another film. I don't know if it's something that they fill in at times or if that's a natural thing that happened during his
right. That's
martial
what I was,
arts career.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out because even in Hard Target, which we'll be reviewing next, actually, there's your little spoiler. It's kind of the same area.
Yeah. I noticed that when I watched both. Yep.
It's all bloodied up. So I was wondering, I'm thinking, man, that almost looks like they shaved it in, but
it's Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla
stole that
Ice.
From him.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to get on that, jump on that train.
Also, spoiler alert: Hard Target also features a flaming lumber fight scene.
Yeah, exactly. It does. So yeah, the cop ends up finding out about Van Damme. Basically gives him the heads up warning. That's really nice of him to be like, you know what? Get out of here or else I'm going to take you in, pretty much. And so the cop's basically just jealous, obviously, but for the fact that he could get all of the glory taking down Van Damme like that and then basically trying to get Clyde back, even though it wouldn't happen, but he could have gone that way and he didn't. He gave Van Damme the heads up and was just like, get out of here, man. Get out of here. There's too much going on. You're just throwing the monkey wrench in and we don't need it.
Yeah, they did work on humanizing his character, not making him an archetype. His character was pretty well fleshed out too. He had actual human motivations. He was not the best motivations.
Right.
He was a weak-willed person, but they actually wrote him as a character.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And I really liked that too. It showed his jealousy. It showed that he just, I don't know, he was human.
Yeah, he had good sides, bad sides.
Right, exactly.
Weaknesses.
I think besides obviously Hans and Buffalo Bill, it really did show that everyone in here wasn't perfect, and we each. The outlying idea of that everyone's human, except if you try to delve into card magic.
Then you become a wizard.
You're a wizard. Van Damme busting out those awesome shades, man.
Yeah.
I totally wanted a pair of those. They were so unique. They're smaller than aviators, but larger than just a normal pair, like a Wayfarer or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing shades like those, even in around that time.
Yeah, it's very, very awesome. And I totally was like, I'm going to find these and make a prescription sunglasses out of them.
You could always scan it and 3D print the
frames. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. We'll do that.
Future is now, baby.
Exactly. Don't tell me I can't get those. Then we get an amazing chase scene out of this film, man. We have horses. We have police on foot. We have dirt motorcycle cops.
Yep.
You have giant SUVs.
I've never heard of dirt bike motorcycle cops before this.
You haven't been living.
He just sits there and then realizes right away that an amazing chase scene's about to happen. Hops on the bike, and then all hell breaks loose.
Oh yeah, dude, all hell breaks loose. An amazing chase scene.
Really well done. Yeah,
I loved it, man. It was like something out of Smokey and the Bandit or whatever. I mean, it was
lots of vehicles, lots of accidents.
Yeah, dude, it was sweet. And then Van Damme ends up deciding, hey, I'm gonna go downhill this really scary way that basically anyone would die doing it. Jumping over flaming cars, cops hitting other cops on bikes. It was
riding on a mountaintop.
Riding on mountains.
Like over the peak of a mountain.
It's like you think Triple X is crazy that just recently got released. Look at Nowhere to Run.
That's
when
right.
Van Damme's running on mountains. It's awesome.
That's where you run when there's nowhere to run.
Yep.
Makes
and then
sense.
Sam comes back. So instead of leaving when he obviously could have, he goes back into the lion's den, wants to help with the family. We get some crazy stuff going on, trying to get poor Clyde to sign while she's under duress. They're taking the kids. There's all the cronies hanging out outside and around. And basically, they get her to sign, and then they're like, haha, fuck your house. And the dude lights the curtains on fire, but then Van Damme pulls them through the window into the curtains, lights the dude on fire.
Immediately gets rid of the fire hazard.
Oh, dude, immediately. I loved it. Like, I saw that, I was like, that's so unique.
Yeah,
it was
awesome. Actually really cool.
Oh, so awesome. That was just beautiful. And then I said that this was literally the dirtiest fight Van Damme has ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in the dirty, like punching people in the nuts. I mean literally dirty. Like the outside sink gets smashed in. They get all wet. Buffalo Bill's trying to like push Van Damme's face into it like it's scalding hot water or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. And then they fall into the dirt, and it just is this mix of dirt and mud and kicking and fighting. And oh man, I felt like I was in A Boy Named Sue.
That's an excellent reference.
Thank you. So Van Damme puts Buffalo Bill through the windshield of the cop car. He thinks it's over. Buffalo Bill has like this crazy look on his face. His eyes kind of bloody.
He's got his penis tucked between his legs.
Yep. And he's mumbling something about fucking him. I don't know. But then all of a sudden, it's one of those situations. We're not over yet. Buffalo Bill comes out with the shotgun from the police car, tries to shoot Van Damme. We get a beautiful sidearm throw from Kieran Culkin with that 6-shooter.
Yep.
Van
Damme apparently had
it.
loaded the whole time.
Yep, he did, man. He totally did. Van Damme shoots Buffalo Bill basically right in the stomach. The cards go flying everywhere.
Yep. His magic dissipates as he dies.
Exactly. It was just like you saw the cards fly up in the air, then fall down all over him. And the thing that I was expecting a totally awesome one-liner from this, but they like cut out what Van Damme said. Like the copy that I saw it from, Van Damme says something like, it looks almost, if you read the lips, like you're fucking dead or something like that. It looks like he drops an F-bomb and says dead.
Oh man.
Do you recall it? Because like you can't
like,
hear it at all. It's almost like they were just like, we're not going to have him dub over this.
I'm trying to remember if the version I saw he actually said something. Because I felt like he did.
Right. I mean, you would think that he did. It made no sense to me because like I actually paused it because my kids were playing and I couldn't hear it. So I paused it and I rewound it, played it again. And then I was like, wait a minute. He didn't say anything. It was just the music.
He's just mumbling to himself.
And he was just thinking, I'd fuck you, Buffalo Bill. I'd fuck you hard.
That whole fight scene, it was really, it reminded me a lot of a classic Harrison Ford fight scene from like a movie like The fugitive or something like that.
Right.
They were just using everything at hand, like pitchforks.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that pitchfork was awesome. It was a great fight scene too.
Yep.
Man.
It was
good.
very realistic for a Van Damme film. Not as many back kicks.
Right. No. It was mostly just kind of dirty fighting.
Yeah, just them like tackling each other. And
yeah.
Trying to murder each other with every weapon.
Exactly. Whatever they could get their hands on. And speaking of hands
nice.
Hands grabs Clyde, picks her up. He's like going to bring her outside and hold her as hostage, but the police all show up. And one thing that I forgot to say is the officer, her former lover, comes in, gets the butt of the gun to the head.
Yep.
And basically gets knocked out. And so I was like kind of really surprised on that. But I guess you got to be a little bit more careful with that situation. Don't want him to play on his emotions, even though he was on your side the whole time.
I feel, I kept having the feeling that he would end up getting killed in the movie.
Right. Yeah,
and
that's what I was thinking too.
Surprisingly, he did not.
He didn't, no. So basically the cops get Hans to give up. They handcuffed him. The cop actually comes to. He's not dead. Handcuffs Van Damme. Van Damme lets him handcuff him. They go to take him to the squad car. Kieran Culkin comes out, gives him a hug, goodbye. And you're thinking that we're going to have another Lionheart moment here.
Uh-huh.
Hans basically threatens. He's like, do you know who I am? You've ruined me. And Van Damme hits him in the door in the nuts.
Not an easy thing to do.
No, not at all. And the fact that the cops let it happen was pretty awesome, too. And then basically he gets thrown in the cop car. And that's it. That's the end. Yeah.
Visitation days
done.
are Thursday, I believe.
Yeah. So I really loved that ending.
Yeah, the ending
was
terrific.
Just like,
I was
hey,
like, wow, a realistic ending.
Exactly. I felt like the whole movie was pretty damn realistic, as kind of crazy as it is. But yeah, I seriously was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this film.
Yes, me too. I was not at all sure to expect from the beginning. It kept surprising me from start to finish.
Right, exactly. I think what surprises me is why this is such a sleeper, yet I think that it's actually really good. I think IMDb has it at 5.5 stars, basically.
I think that's just the universal star amount for each and every one of his films.
Right, yeah, pretty much so. So it was, I really enjoyed it. Only one headbutt, no splits in this.
Plenty of Van Damme ass, a good amount of Van Damme ass.
Yeah, a lot of Van Damme ass. Not so many grunts or anything like that. There was the door to the nuts. That might have been the only like straight up nut shot in that film. And I don't think there was any titular line either. I don't think there was like any passing by, which they could easily have done. Like, what, you have nowhere to run here or something like that. But no, there was none of that.
I can't leave you. I've got nowhere to run.
Perfect, man. That's probably what he said after he killed Buffalo Bill. So anyway, let's get into the trivia here. Actress Rosanna Arquette disliked working with Van Damme and stated in many interviews that she only took the role because good parts were few and far between. Aww.
She just didn't know a good thing when she saw it.
Exactly. Produced the working title Pals and Crossing the Line. What?
Pals. Is that like playing on the friendship between him and the kid? Or
I guess so. That's what I would think. Van Damme's motorcycle is a 1969 650cc Triumph T120 Bonneville. Kieran Culkin, who plays the role of Mookie, is the younger brother to Macaulay Culkin. Kieran also worked with his brother in Home Alone 1 and 2 as Kevin's cousin wearing glasses.
Oh, jeez, I hated that kid.
I didn't realize that, actually.
Yeah, me either.
Wow.
I forgot how weird everyone in that family's name was.
Yeah, man.
Kieran Culkin, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, the Culkins had some very interesting names.
And interesting lives.
Yeah. When Ted Levine's character falls back dead to the ground, he has his arms up either side of his head, the same way that Buffalo Bill dies in Silence of the Lambs.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And that's it for trivia. That's very short trivia on this.
Short but sweet.
Yep, short but sweet.
That last one, I wonder if that was intentional or not. I feel like it was.
Yep. All right, let's get into some quotes. We got a handful of quotes. I'm actually pretty surprised here.
Hell yeah.
Au revoir, fucker.
Wait, wasn't that what he said to? Was that what he said to Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill, maybe.
Because
maybe that's what he. Yeah,
I think that's what he said because in the version I watched, I remember that.
I remember hearing that though.
Oh, maybe it was a different death.
So
then.
I was almost thinking it was like amongst the guys where let's see, it says after shooting the bad guy.
Okay, so that's probably a generic bad guy.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Clyde, where are you from? Quebec. What did you do there? What difference does it make? It's an innocent question. I'm a lawyer. Where'd you learn to fight like that? Law school. You bastard! Do you know who I am? I know what you are.
That was a great
Smash.
line. Yeah. Actually, it was a really good line.
He's got a big penis. Bree! He does. He was in the pond washing. He's got an average penis. How do you know? Because I saw it. Already? Man. I don't want to hear any more about penises.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, man. Yep, that's.
I liked how she was shocked, just like at the impropriety of the statement, not at the fact that her toddler daughter saw his penis,
and does not question it whatsoever. Yeah. All right, steal the car, go to hell. What you doing out this way? Hunting. In a suit? What kind of hunting? Pink flamingos. 3 strikes, you're out. These are basically all the quotes that we've already made mention. Hey, Sam, this is me, Billy. I wish I could be there to split all the money with you, but I guess if you're listening to this, then it's all yours now, right? Well, you deserve it, man. I mean, being in prison all that time because of me? Hey, I wonder which way I'm headed. Either way, up or down, I guess I got a 50-50 chance of meeting Elvis, huh? Ha ha! How do you like that suit I picked out for you? Anyhow, lay low and don't go getting into things that way you do sometimes.
I liked how he told him to lay low and he got him a fucking suit.
Yeah, and he got him a suit.
In the middle of the pokes, you're like...
Oh, and Sam, I'm glad I knew you. Aww.
Yep.
Well, I'm surprised to see that you're still here. No, you're not. Yes, I am. If I see you near her or the children, I'll kill you. Look. I should do it like in the Buffalo Bill voice.
There you go.
Look, you seem like a smart fellow. The woman isn't worth it. And I'll tell you, when push comes to shove, you're not going to be dealing with some little tin badge local sheriff guy. You're going to be dealing with me, okay? I look forward to it. Me too.
I kept expecting him to
Au
say...
revoir. Yeah, for now.
Like, I kept expecting him to say, you know, like, oh, we're she a great big fat lady.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, I just kept getting the
fat lady.
Getting the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, man.
He's great.
He was, dude. Really good. Really good. All right, so let's get into rating this. What would you rate it?
I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, man, me too.
I really
man.
enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed this as well. Really surprising. Had a lot of fun with it. Glad that we got to watch it, man. I mean,
hell yeah. I wouldn't have watched this otherwise. Like, no way in hell would I have randomly been like, I guess I'll just decide to watch this practically unknown Jean-Claude Van Damme vehicle.
Right,
know,
exactly. No, I really was surprised with it. Totally forgot what it was. Thought it was another one, actually, when I first looked at it. I thought it was another one of his films, and I think the film that I'm thinking of is like Desert Heat or whatever.
Yes. Was that another one when he had his long hair?
I can't recall. I don't think he did on that. Maybe he did.
Hard to remember.
It's been a while since I've watched that one, too. So, anyway, what we have up next is actually Hard Target. So, I'm pretty exciting. We're back in Louisiana. We kind of briefly, I think, took a visit there during Universal Soldier, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
At least we were kind of made to believe, anyway. So, yeah, let's get into that. I think that's also 1993. That might be 94, but
I think it was 93.
Yep, it was. It was 93.
Woohoo!
All right, so there we have it. That's it. Thank you so much for coming in the studio with me to talk about one of our greatest loves of life.
It was my pleasure. I feel like this film, if they had cut out all the action scenes, it would have been like the plot of a romance novel.
Most definitely. I mean, it really is kind of the plot of a romance novel, to be completely honest with you.
I could see the poster of it, just like him cradling her in his arms.
Right,
and
exactly. I want to talk to Rosanna Arquette to see why she did not like working with Van Damme.
Probably he accidentally kicked her in the face during the action scene. It's the reason that most people don't like working with him.
That's true. Speaking of, hilarious moments.
Uh-oh.
So I was watching some Van Damme clips online, and I'll wrap this up soon. But, the brother to Thor, Helmsworth.
Tom Hiddleston?
No, not Loki. Not in Marvel. No, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, the one who was in the Expendables
and
2.
Liam Helmsworth.
Yep.
Liam was doing a talk show over in Britain, UK. I forget the guy's name. He has the beard. Everyone loves him. Pretty funny guy over there. So he's talking about, it's him, The Rock, and Jeff Goldblum sitting on the couch, and they're talking. That's just a great mixture of people to have anyway. And I don't know what all three of them together were doing to actually be able to all be present on the couch at the same time. If it was the same movie on something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, Liam Helmsworth, tells the story of meeting Van Damme. Van Damme kicked him in the chest, legitimately. And Expendables 2, if you guys recall that one. He kicked him in the chest.
Wasn't his name Jean Villain or something like that?
Yep, basically Jean Villain. Yeah. So Helmsworth goes down, and he's like, oh, this is Van Damme, and I'm in front of a bunch of the dudes. I'm trying not to like show it that this really hurts. And so he's like, oh, that's not bad. And Van Damme says something like a one-liner like, yeah, it's a Hollywood kick. And then like just walks off. So he fucking kicks him in the chest for real. Then walks off like it was a fake kick. Kind of like, I could kick you harder if I wanted to.
That is just, that's beautiful.
And then he said something, he goes, my other one interaction, he goes, I've never interacted with Van Damme at all after or before this. Van Damme randomly went up to him and goes, you have a beautiful face for this. And then just walks away.
Sometimes I wonder if his movies even have scripts or if he just ad-libs the entire time.
I know, man. I don't know.
That sounds like something out of a Van Damme movie.
It's basically Jeff Goldblum. They all kind of were making fun of Van Damme at this talk show.
Has Goldblum worked with Van Damme?
He said he only met Van Damme once, and that was once like that he kind of realized Van Damme was an off fellow.
That's coming from Jeff Goldblum.
I know exactly, and that's what I thought. I'm like,
I feel that.
Wow. It was pretty funny. After this I'll show you the clip. But yeah, the host of this TV show was basically like, "Oh yeah, he's cuckoo." And Jeff Goldblum's like, "Really? He is?" He's like, "I've only met him once, and I kind of thought it." He's like, "Oh yeah, he is." Like, it's awesome. So anyway, check that out, guys. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you for hitting that download button or that subscribe button. Helps us out. It gets us into other people's ears. If you really, really, really want to help us out, please consider donating to us on Patreon at patreon.com/podbros. Or if you don't want to do that, but you love shopping on Amazon, please consider using our link. It doesn't cost you anything, but helps us out tremendously. I can't say that enough. That's it. That's enough of my shilling. Thank you so much. This is John.
And I am Jeff.
And you've been listening to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Damme cast. Jeff's got a big penis.
John!
It's just average.
It's just average.
He's got a big penis. Bree? He does. He was in the pond washing.
He's got an average penis.
How do you know?
Because I saw it.
Already?
I don't want to hear any more about penises.